we know that our sort of gold standard measurement, the apnea-hypoxia index, has its limitations and in fact doesn't predict many of the key outcomes that our patients have, whether it be sleepiness, cardiovascular disease, cardiometabolic. So we need better metrics to define, the impact of this disease and its consequences. So this technique, the odds ratio product, was developed by Professor Magna Yunus in Canada, and we and others have been collaborating with him. And essentially what it does, rather than look at our traditional sleep staging parameters from a sleep study, takes the EEG signal, looks in little defined 3-second segments, and tells us on a scale between 0 and 2.5 how deeply asleep that individual is at any given time. So it's a continuous measurement of sleep depth or continuity, if you like. And what we've been able to do using this EEG-based approach is because we already collect such rich information from our sleep studies, but we ignore most of it and reduce it down to this single AHI number. So what we and others are now doing is taking techniques like the ORP and looking at, does that tell us about these other key outcomes. And so what we've done in this study is take 2 large cohort studies, the HypnoLaus cohort from Switzerland, a study of about 2,000 men and women from the community, and our study of nearly 1,000 men in Adelaide, South Australia, with sleep apnea, or many of whom had sleep apnea, I should say. And we used the ORP technique to see if it could help us predict who's going to be sleepy in terms of their self-reported sleepiness during the day, as well as does it tell us about their perception of their sleep quality. And indeed it did. So this measure, and essentially people with a higher wakefulness signal, so if we look in that 8-hour sleep study, we look at the ORP metric, people that were more aroused or had a higher ORP value tended to report more sleep disruption, but they also were not sleepy. They reported less sleepiness during the day, which is kind of consistent with our insomnia profile. So they report having disrupted sleep overnight, and yet they are not overtly sleepy during the day. So we think that this might be a metric of what we call hyperarousal, so a physiological marker of why some of these people might be getting insomnia type symptoms. So again, this is just better use of the signals we're already collecting that might help us better treat and look after our patients.